right now. The Democrats rolling out what they normally do whenever you try to cut taxes for anybody is they say billionaire tax cuts for the rich, all about the wealthy, nothing for the middle class, etc. Same old playbook, different day. This time it is not going to work because this has the potential, the way the president has outlined his tax reform vision, of being the most riveting, comprehensive tax reform that we have had in probably 50 or 75 years. Since the advent of the income tax, it started at 1% to ostensibly fund the First World War. Now, here we are, and it's eating up just about everything. But this is a bigger tax cut for the middle class than Jack Kennedy in 61, Ronald Reagan in 81. And a core piece of it is the president wants unequivocally to simplify the tax code. So it's not 76,000 pages. He wants to simplify it so that you can make out your tax form on one page. It's almost a page out of Steve Forbes' old flat tax, where you could basically send your income tax in a 3x5 postcard, right? It's a little bigger than that, but not that much. Right now, the tax code is 76,000 pages. What does it do? It favors the swamp only. This is a swamp tax code. It swims in the swamp. Only the elites can navigate their way around it. The system is designed to preserve itself. Only the powerful, the big, the well-connected, and the swamp monsters, the lobbyists. The tax code is how the government exercises their power. Trump wants to simplify that and take the tax code out of the hands of the swamp and put it into the hands of the people. Now get this. I say this every couple of days so it sinks in. Lobbyists last year in Washington, D.C. spent $5.8 million per member of Congress. Where do you think that money is coming from? Just fathom this. There's 535 members of Congress, House and Senate, and last year, lobbyists spent $5.8 million per member of Congress to lobby them. Where do you think that's coming from? That is coming from big companies that can take advantage of these tax code rules and other things they're able to do in legislative wise to divvy up your tax dollars so they can make up that $5.8 million plus. This is the swamp the president's trying to get it out of here. Obviously, the Democrats not happy with it because it takes power out of the hands of the lobbyist and put it in to the pockets of Americans. You know, and the Democrats, they're boring. You know, they're getting boring. This is why I don't watch Fox News. Don't bore me. Now, if you're an Astro fan, I was not bored last night in the eighth inning. I'd say that. Don't bore me. That's all I ask. Debate me, fight with me, but don't bore me. I cannot take it. The Democrats are boring me to tears. It's a tax cut for the rich. It's the billionaires club. It's this. It's that. No, this is a simplification of the tax code. Why are we simplifying it? So you have the power, not the lobbyist in the swamp. All you have to do is look at Corker and Flake yesterday. That's all you have to do. Here's my question. You went out so bad, you can't stand this president. You don't like what's going on in America. You don't want to run for re-election because you don't want to get embarrassed because Trump voters are going to turn out in droves and kick your tail in the primary and embarrass you. That's why you don't want to run. But if you hate it that much, why don't you get out now? Why wait? Why sit there for another 15 months eating up our salary? Go ahead. Get out. Don't let the door hit you in the keister on the way out. Why aren't they getting out? They got another 15 months to navigate their way through the swamp, right? To put on a diver's mask, go down there, see what they can do. They got another 15 months to do insider trading. They got another 15 months to figure out what lobbyists are going to hire them in K Street for the most money so they can get out and become millionaires too, like everybody else that goes in there. Trump is trying to drain it. The lobbyists are going to fight this tax bill like nothing you have ever seen. That's why we changed our studio location from by the White House to by the Capitol, because that's going to be where the action is. And I'm telling you, once this thing hits, the S is going to hit the fan. Because if you go to any of the buildings on the Capitol, you go to any one of them, you're going to get knocked over in the next 2 weeks by every lobbyist coming out of every swamp you can ever imagine. It's going to be 1,000 creatures crawling out from the Black Lagoon. They're going to be in $5,000 Armani suits. They're going to have on $10,000 Rolex watches. They're going to get their limousines, dropping them off, and they're going to be swarming the halls of Congress at $5.8 million apiece, fighting to get rid of the changes that this president wants. Why? Because the president is fighting for middle-class working people that don't have any money. The lobbyists are fighting for the big 50 globalist slave trade network, cheap labor, chamber of commerce corporations that could give a rat's tail if you live or die. Because you don't have any money. Money drives this town. Money drives the swamp. That's what this whole thing is about. Power and money, and keeping it in the hands of a self-perpetuating few. And I am telling you, this thing in the next 2 weeks, you know what's amazing? You heard the montage earlier, where I guess it was Steny Hoyer from Maryland saying, well, you know, the last time we had tax reform in 1981, it took 2 years. It started with Bill Bradley. Bill Bradley used to play basketball for the Knicks. What? It started with Bill Bradley and Dick Gephardt. Dick Gephardt, he ran for president at what, 84 or something? 80, 86, 80, 80 hasn't been there in 30 years. Father was a milkman. That's all I remember about Dick Gephardt. Oh, it took 2 years. Hey, President Trump doesn't work on that timeline. He doesn't have 2 years. He wants the thing done in 2 weeks. That's why we voted him in. Oh, it's got to take 2 years. You know, we have a process here. All the lobbyists have to get involved in. Everybody's got to look at everything, and we got to be sure that the money can keep flowing. And what if, you know, we aggravate one of our lobbyists and we don't get the donor money? Then what are we going to do? Then we might not get reelected. So this is, what is this? This is the incumbent reelection plan. Get the lobbyists in, give them everything they need, they give them money back, and they stay in power. This is what this president has come to Washington to change. Now, you might not like his tweets, and you might not agree with his style, and you might not like the way he says things, and you might not like who he surrounded himself with in there. We all have some issues. I don't like the neocons and General McMaster of the skies running around the West Wing, sending 1,000 troops to Niger, and there's no AUMF and 5,000. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. I don't like everything that goes on. Right? I don't like the fact that Mark Short is the legislative director in the White House, who I fought in the campaign for, 15 months? I don't like that either. There's always going to be something we don't like. But if you look at the bigger picture, we sent him there to do just this. This president is saying, hey, you got 3 weeks, get this done. Well, it's not even in markup. Well, so what? Get it done. Get it done and get it in front of the American people. And he knows, why does he say he's got to have this done by Christmas? Because here's what President Trump has figured out. If you let this stuff drag out, forget it. The lobbyists take control. The money interest takes control. The Chamber of Commerce takes control. By the way, the Chamber is the biggest lobbying front fraud group in the history of the world. They're funded by 50 big globalist countries. And they go around knocking on doors to get donations for small businesses, and they don't do crap for small business. They are a slave to the 50 globalist cheap labor corporations. And you know it, and I'm the only person with the guts to call them out. And we got a chance to change America fundamentally. And you do that by simplifying the tax code and getting out of the swamp. When you do your taxes, you either got to do it yourself, go to an accountant friend, or go to H&R Block or Liberty or one of these other people. You don't have the money to spend $500 an hour tax lawyers to pour through every book. And if there's something in there they don't like, they get the lobbyists and they change it. The tax code And the 76,000 pages is the floor. It is the plug in the swamp. It's the plug. It's the stop drain. If you pull that out, if you simplify that code, you're pulling the plug right out of the drain. And you're pouring Drano in it, and the whole thing starts to drain. Just think about this. $5.8 million spent last year by K Street per member of Congress. What are they spending that for? That is an incredible amount of money. Where's it coming from? Well, if I can just get the right policies to take advantage of the tax code and not pay any taxes, that's going to save me millions, tens of millions of dollars. 5.8 million is nothing. And if I can get the government and the players to go in with me on these trade deals, and I can ship jobs overseas, and I can bring 4 million visa workers in a year while our graduates sit in their parents' basement making $15 an hour trying to pay off their loans. If I can just drive wages down, look how much more money I'll make. This is the way the city works. This is why we have policies that you look at them from the outside. If you're in Ohio or San Diego or South Dakota, and you look at them and you say they're insane. They're insane because they are driven by the moneyed interest that make up the swamp in Washington, D.C., and they don't give a rat's tail about the American worker. That's why they've shipped their jobs overseas and they've cut their wages. They don't care because you don't have any money. That's why you elected Trump. You realized something was wrong with the system that's going down in the country. Meantime, kids are coming home in body bags. They're making money. How much money do you think is being made on the companies like Halliburton first, that's supplying the 1,000 troops we have in Niger that nobody knew they were there? How much money are they making? They make the money, our kids die, there's no authorization. What's wrong here?